Volkanovski's coach was doing an interview. He was talking about the rematch coming up with Max. And he said, look, there's things we're going to have to do different. We're not going to just look at that fight and because we liked the result, think that we can go out and do the same thing and get the same result. We have to learn from that fight. Now, I like that attitude right from the beginning because most guys don't do this. Conor has even become famous for an expression, you win or you learn. And that's a fine attitude. That's much better than most attitudes in defeat. But it's also very accurate by Conor. Most guys will either win or they'll use that as an opportunity to see where some of their weaknesses were to try to get better. Now, the truth is what Volkanovski's coach is saying. It doesn't matter the outcome, win or lose. You need to learn. You need to get better. You can't just take a match where the outcome was in your favor and therefore deduce that everything we did must have been great. And you'll see that all the time. This is more obvious in boxing than it is in MMA. If a boxer has a fight and he doesn't win, he fires his whole team. Happens all the time where he trains camps and gets on an airplane and moves away and never sees those other coaches again. One has nothing to do with the other. Did you fight to the best of your ability? Now it's a two-man sport. Perhaps he also fought to the best of his abilities and his abilities are better than your abilities and you got to just live with that and move on. But once you start playing that finger-pointing game, it generally doesn't end well. So I thought that it was a very good mindset that Volkanovski's coach was coming from. And if you do look at some of the success that gym is having, be it Volkanovski, be it Hooker, be it Adesanya, there is something special going on there. And I've also never heard a coach say that of the winning athlete going into a rematch, saying we need to change things, we need to do things differently. And his math and logic behind it was very simple. He also spoke on this, and he just said, we fought Max. Max is going to know what we're doing, what we're looking to do, and have a better feel for us. So therefore, we need to also do that. If Max gains an inch, we just got to keep staying an inch ahead. That's the way we stay ahead. I get it. You guys get it too. But I don't think that you hear very many people in sport talk like that. I thought that it was a pretty different outlook and a little bit of an insight possibly to why this club is having so damn much success. Coach went on to say that while Volkanovski has to make certain changes, Max has to fundamentally change the way that he fights, and that is something that takes years to do. Now, whether the coach is right or wrong on that, those boys are going to have to figure out next Saturday night. But to the point that to fundamentally change what you do takes years and years, that is spot on. And there is so much made of game plans. Coaches will do that a lot of times to justify their existence as a coach. Athletes will do that a lot of times to justify the outcome of a fight, whether it was positive or it was adverse. They will come out and go, well, I didn't have a very good game plan. Or they'll come out and go, I really stuck to the game plan. What in the hell does that mean? I don't know that there's any fighter that you could ask, hey, is game plan 2 words or is that a compound word? Do you put a hyphen in the middle of that? They wouldn't even know the answer to it. They have the foggiest idea. They just heard somebody else on TV doing what it is they dreamed of doing, and now they're given a chance. Say the word game plan, and they throw it out there. Look, your skills are your skills. The end. We can pack up and go home here. Your skills are your skills. If you go out and you assess a guy with your coaches watching training camp, and every time somebody throws a left-sided wheel kick to the head, the guy eats it. He just doesn't know how to defend one. But your athlete isn't in possession of the skill of a left-sided wheel kick to the head. You have nothing. There's nothing to see here. Well, this guy always, get ready to fight a guy, and he's had problems with every single southpaw. Well, if your fighter is orthodox, there's nothing to see here. And if he's orthodox and you tell him to go out and fight southpaw, and he's had 8-week training camp to work on it, there's less to see here. He's going to get stomped. You either believe in your athlete or you don't. It's really that simple. If you ever go into a room, the very first thing you're going to do, an athlete, working with new coaches in a new room, the first thing those coaches are going to do is grab you and convince you that what you're doing is wrong and that they have the answers, and if you come with them, they will reveal the secrets to you. That is merely a psychological ploy to business. The guy from out of town with the white shirt knows the best. But that's a ploy and a play to be now your coach, to get you to, whether it's to sign up for the gym or to get a little notoriety with you or to come along and collect a percentage. None of that's below board. You just have to know how to recognize this, okay? There's many athletes, I'll back it up. Something might be easier for you to understand. A number of blue chip high school athletes all sorts of sports will come out, drafted, full rides, recruited, full rides, go into college, you never hear from them again. They never did anything, not national titles or All-Americans. They never even made the starting lineup. But if you ever go talk to them, most of their stories are the same. And it wasn't that they started slipping with grades or got into a social life or alcohol or something like this. Most of it was, I got to this program and they tried to change me. And so many programs in college, never the good ones, never the Alabamas or the Clemsons or never the good programs. But they do believe that the program makes the athletes as opposed to the athlete makes the program. A good recruiter will see somebody's skill set, recruit them largely because of their previous accomplishments and understand that that skill set is what equal those accomplishments, and they'll just let them continue to grow and learn from there. If you ever go into a room and they start just changing your philosophy and changing the way you're going to look at it, Volkanovski's coach is right. That would take years. Years. There are the smallest tweaks that you could possibly make on an athlete after he's 14 years old. And they become smaller by the time he's 20, and they're next to non-existent by the time he's 25. They do exist, but they are the smallest of tweaks. And that's just a reality of human beings. I mean, right? The whole theory that it takes 10,000 hours to master something, or it takes 10 years to master something, or whatever motivational book you've decided to put your $5 down with and part with at the library that day, you're still going to come to the same conclusion. And whenever you try to go out and change guys, or they want to talk about their game plan, how about the plan is you go out and hit this guy? I had a chance to work with my coach's coach, right? So the grandfather. I can't question my coach. Imagine, and my coach can't question his coach. Imagine where I sit in. A guy named Kenny Adams, coach of the Army. And he came on to The Ultimate Fighter. Great boxing coach. I mean, this guy trained everybody. And there was always a shot that I just wanted to land. It was just a body shot. You guys might see John Jones landed it on Shogun to win the championship. Last shot of the fight. Let's see here. Jose Aldo always lands it before he throws his outside leg kick by example. But the examples are very light. I'm kind of giving you every example I could think of, and I've come up with two. It's a very rare shot to see in mixed martial arts. Every boxing match you'll see it. But in MMA, it's a very rare shot. I just wanted to land it. I thought it was a very beautiful shot. I worked on this thing every day. I mean, whether it was on the mitts or even with a partner, but going slow. Dip outside, boom. Throw this shovel hook to the body. I would work it on heavy bags. When I say every day, guys, I'm talking for 20 years. I landed that shot, whether it was sparring live or in live competition, a grand total of 0 times. Never landed it, and always wanted to. But there's some things that within your body and your mind or your side of vision or me being a southpaw, and now it gets a little bit more complicated to do that you just can't do. And I was working with Kenny Adams this one day. I thought, well, here's a great boxing coach. I'm going to ask him the same question that I've asked every coach I've ever worked with about this body shot. And he was showing me basically the same thing. You can throw a jab, dip outside, and throw it away. If the guy throws a jab at you, dip outside and find the body. And then he told me one thing that nobody else had ever told me. He goes, well, or you can just walk up and hit him right in that spot. He said, the only reason I'm not telling you that one is that one's a little bit less likely to happen. But don't ever forget that about fighting. You can do all of the pretty stuff and get all the oohs and the ahs. But if you go out and you just hit that spot you're trying to hit, you're going to hurt that guy in front of you. There was a big message in there, and Coach Adams didn't spend any more than 30 seconds making that entire statement to me, but it did open my eyes forevermore. That not everything is as complicated as you want to make it. Ultimately, if that's where you want to hit the guy and you walk out and you hit him there, you win that exchange. Sure, there's some intricacies, and sure, there's some things that you're going to need to work through that will increase your rate of probability based on guys who have done it before you, but ultimately, if that's what you want to hit, walk out and hit it. And he's right. You can talk about game plans and you can sit down and you can strategize. I was teammates with Randy Couture, and I remember when all the headlines and what a great game planner Randy Couture was. Look, I agree. I like anything Randy did. I'm a Randy fan. But there wasn't a day in practice he didn't do what you saw him do in the octagon, and there wasn't any of those fights, regardless if it was winning world championships at 205 pounds or winning world championships at heavyweight. Whether it was losing a world championship at 205 or losing a fight at heavyweight. Every damn one of those Randys was the same Randy, and when it worked out well, the media, oh my goodness, look at this. Look at this game plan. Game plan, let me guess, he started in one corner and the other guy was in the other? And when the ref said go, he went? Yeah, Chael, yeah, that's pretty. Did you see the fight? No, I didn't see the fight, but I get it.